Yeah, what's going on, chat? I'm here. I'm back. Listen, y'all, we're about to give you a good reaction. We're about to watch the most disturbing case with an insane twist. It better be twisty.
It better have an insane
It
twist.
better be like a corkscrew. Listen, what I need y'all to do, though, I'm pretty sure y'all are subbed up, but if you're not, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, put your post noties on, and drop a comment. Let us know you're loving what you're seeing. Let us know what you want to watch. Also, like this video. Let's get it.
Captured on CCTV footage,
CCTV.
this marked the final moment 20-year-old Haley Rathgaber being spotted on camera stepping into a car with a man in Newburgh, Indiana. When that man seen in the footage returned later that night, he was alone. Tragically, the following morning, on April 24th, 2017, Haley's lifeless body was discovered near the Alcoa Soccer Complex in rural Warwick County, just east of Newburgh. She had been fatally shot in the back of her head. Given the lack of signs of struggle, authorities speculated that Haley may not have resisted her attacker. But the real questions were, was it the same individual in the car as seen in the footage? Was the perpetrator a stranger or someone known to Haley? At 6:40 a.m. on Monday, April 24th, 2017, two local residents were driving near the Alcoa Soccer Complex, situated in a rural east area just off of Indiana 66, when they spotted something alarming.
The lady and her daughter were driving by and they saw something laying in the soccer field parking lot. But first, they couldn't exactly see what it was.
Intrigued, they pulled over and got closer to the area, only to discover it was a human body. After the initial shock wore off, they dialed 911. When officers from Warwick County Police reached the scene at around 7 a.m., they discovered a young woman's lifeless body left in the gravel of the soccer field parking lot. The scene painted a grim picture. It was evident that the young woman had been lying there for a while, surrounded by a pool of blood. She was in a snow angel position, with a gunshot wound to the back of her head. Strangely enough, aside from that fatal injury, there weren't any other visible marks on her body. The only other clue was a blood-soaked blue towel lying nearby. But despite scouring the area, there was no sign of the murder weapon or shell casings.
We searched that entire area looking for a shell casing, looking for projectile.
Now imagine walking around in a field looking for a shell casing.
Imagine driving by and there's a dead body on the floor.
The place was a mess, scattered with debris and trash, which yielded little physical evidence. And that wasn't the only problem. The victim didn't have any belongings on her that could help identify her. No wallet, no phone, not even keys. It was like she'd been wiped clean of any traceable information. Fortunately, the detectives discovered a crucial lead in their quest to identifying the victim. A cross tattoo on her back adorned with the Bible verse Psalms 46:5. Recognizing this as their best chance at identification, the detectives turned to media reports for assistance. The rarity of violent crimes in the area meant that news of the incident spread rapidly, leaving people shaken and terrified at the same time.
It can be very beneficial to us, and in this case, just reporting that there was a body found is what prompts people to start checking on their loved ones and maybe find out that somebody is missing quicker than they would have.
Nah, I would never live in a town like this.
One of those concerned citizens was Heather Collins, who resided in Evansville, Indiana, just 15 miles from the location where the body was found. She was worried about the well-being of her 3 daughters.
And I got a call from managers at my station saying, hey, there's been a body found. We need you to go to the scene.
Right now, authorities are considering this death suspicious, and because of that, a death investigation has begun.
The unidentified victim was said to be in her late teens to early 20s, so Heather needed to ensure that all of her daughters were out of danger. To her relief, her younger daughters, Emily and Kaylee, were safe and accounted for. However, Heather felt a wave of anxiety wash over her when her eldest daughter, Haley, was nowhere to be found. On top of that, Haley wasn't even picking up her calls or texting back, freaking her family out even more.
She never didn't answer the phone. She never didn't reply. That was so out of character for her. It didn't happen.
Feeling tense, her mother and sisters started reaching out to her friends, hoping to find out where she was. Their anxiety skyrocketed when they learned from Haley's friends that she hadn't made it to her university exam. Knowing Haley as a dedicated and diligent sophomore nursing student, this was completely out of character.
It's not like her to miss class, not like her to have her phone turned off.
They said she didn't like fight back, so she must have definitely
I
knew
mean,
the
she
dude.
was probably, she was walking away.
Other then
and
called
he
Haley's
bowed
close
from
friend
the
and
back.
coworker, Ansley Bowles.
I called her friend Ansley and said, you know, hey, have you heard from Haley?
She's like, I know you have her apartment key. Can you drive over there and see what she's doing?
When Ansley arrived at Haley's apartment, she noticed her car parked outside, but it was unlocked. Initially, she assumed Haley might be indoors, but upon entering, she found no sign of her friend. Now, growing increasingly worried, Heather reached out to a friend who worked as a detective in the Evansville Police Department.
So I contacted a police detective I knew from Evansville and asked, you know, hey, I can't find Haley. Do you know anyone in Warwick County?
Shortly after, she received a text asking for photos of Haley's tattoos. Sadly, Heather's worst fears were confirmed when detectives identified the body found near Alcoa Soccer Complex as Haley with the help of her tattoos. The news left Haley's family in utter shock and disbelief.
It's not her. It's not her. Can't be her. It was just something unimaginable. Nothing was the same after that. Nothing.
Yeah, I went in, to the dark side we all have. I wanted to kill myself because I wasn't there to protect her, you see.
But their nightmares would only continue with the lack of leads police had at the time, even after the autopsy results. Following an autopsy conducted that night, Warwick County Coroner Sarah Seaton confirmed what the detectives had been suspecting all along. Haley Rathgaber was shot once in the head, which caused her death. The report revealed that she'd been alive for some time after the gunshot, left to suffer in agony. Besides that, there weren't any other major injuries on her body. The autopsy also showed that Haley wasn't assaulted, making the motive behind her murder even more mysterious. As for forensic evidence, there wasn't much to work with. Since they didn't find any shell casings, they couldn't figure out what weapon was used. The experts gave a list of possible weapons that might have been fired. Unfortunately, the sole piece of evidence collected from the crime scene, the blood-soaked blue towel, failed to yield any substantial leads, bearing only Haley's DNA. However, one notable revelation emerged. Examination of Haley's fingernails revealed no traces of unknown DNA, leading detectives to believe she likely didn't engage in a struggle. This could mean two things. Either Haley didn't have the chance to fight, or she was in the company of someone she trusted. Lead investigator Paul Cruz understood that to uncover more about this potential lead, he needed to delve deeper into Haley's life and the people around her. Haley Denise Rathgaber's journey into this world began on December 3rd, 1996, and for the next 20 years, she led a remarkable life. Mature beyond her years, Haley had a natural inclination to care for others.
She kind of just acted like everyone's mom because she was so caring.
She was tall, and everybody, all of our friends were so short. And so it was always like she stuck out. She would like huddle
Mom
over
and all her
us.
kids.
Yeah.
It came as no surprise when she chose a career path centered on helping others. Enrolling in nursing at the University of Southern Indiana, Haley was also known to be self-sufficient. Throughout high school, she worked at Donut Bank in Newburgh. And during college, she took on a job at Texas Roadhouse, a local restaurant in Evansville, Indiana, to support herself financially. But her workplace was more than just a source of income. It was where she built a large circle of friends, many of whom she'd known since high school. This close-knit group, known as the
town
Roadies,
like this, so everyone
frequently
knows each
spent
other.
time together, celebrating holidays and creating cherished memories.
Anything we went out and did, we all just went out and did it together after our shifts. Game nights, Christmas parties, it didn't matter what it was, we just did it together.
So, was it someone from Haley's trusted circle who could harm her? To Haley's family, there was one person in particular. Haley's mother revealed to the detectives that recently, Haley was in a tense situation involving one of her friends, a revelation that stunned the detectives. It came to light that Haley was the godmother of 10-month-old Jackson Wheeler, the son of Jordan Hughes, an old schoolmate of Haley's and one of the Roadies. This was something Haley cherished deeply.
She had got a baby to play with without having to have a baby. So
With the baby's father not in the picture and Jordan working hard to support her family, her infant son Jackson was under the care of Jordan's boyfriend, Thaddeus Rice. Rice, who seamlessly filled the father's role, was also friends with Haley and her other acquaintances. However, just a few days before Haley's murder, a tragic accident occurred on April 10th, 2017. While Rice was holding the infant in a car seat, he accidentally tripped over a diaper bag, causing baby Jackson to fall out of the car seat and down the stairs of his apartment.
Oh my God.
He was rushed to the hospital immediately, but in a critical condition. Upon hearing the news, Haley and her friends hurried to join Jordan at the hospital. They did their best to comfort Jordan, delivering food and offering support. Afterward, they went to Jordan's house to get some clean clothes, where they noticed something unusual.
Like, as soon as you walked into the door, the diaper bag was sitting right by the couch. It didn't look like the diaper bag had fallen down the stairs, like what that had said.
So you're thinking we might have just caught Thaddeus in a big lie?
Yeah.
While Rice was embraced into the friends group,
That's
many didn't
Yeah,
quite
like,
warm up
what?
to him. His reputation in town wasn't stellar, and he had a history of brushes with the law. The tragic
all that,
incident with
just
Jackson
leave.
only
You
fueled
don't
their
want the baby
distrust.
leave.
It's not even his baby.
Jackson didn't make
The father of the baby is not there. That's the boyfriend, they said.
Oh.
I think that's what they said.
it through the fall, and after 2 days on life support, he passed away.
Oh my God.
During police interrogation, Rice's inconsistent recounting of events raised further doubts, particularly as the injuries sustained by
Yeah,
Jackson.
He probably was questioning it.
Well, how does a baby fall down steps, multiple things of steps?
Right.
And especially those steps
And
that they
fly
just showed.
out of the car seat?
That's what I'm
So the
saying.
baby wasn't strapped in the car seat.
Yeah, that don't make no sense.
Didn't align with a fall of that nature. As Haley weighed her options, she debated
Especially
whether
the
to
baby
share her
didn't even
suspicions
live.
with the police.
She had said, what if they want to talk to me? I'm like, you talk,
And the police did speak with Haley just a few days before her own murder. If Haley had or was about to disclose something that could implicate Thaddeus Rice, there would have been sufficient motive for him to harm her. Furthermore, there were circumstances that piled onto the reasons for suspicion on Rice. When detectives interviewed Haley's co-workers from the restaurant, they discovered that on Sunday, April 23, 2017, after finishing her shift, friends invited her out for drinks after her shift, but she declined. Instead, she made plans to head to the library with her friend Ansley. However, even that plan took a detour when Haley decided to visit Jordan to pick up her wallet. Jordan happened to be at Rice's brother's residence with Rice at the time. For the time being, that became the last known place where Haley had been before she was found dead. This sequence of events raised red flags for both Haley's mother and the detectives. With charges as serious as murder looming over Rice, he had both the means and the opportunity to commit Haley's murder.
If I had to think of people who had reasons to hurt her, that would have been number one.
In addition to the mounting suspicions, the day following Haley's tragic death, Heather received the Snapchat video showing Rice brandishing a firearm. The alarming footage intensified the spotlight on Rice's possible involvement. Interestingly, Heather wasn't the only one casting doubt on Rice. Social media was abuzz with rumors implicating him in Haley's murder. With all these incriminating clues, investigators were closing in on Thaddeus Rice, and it was time for them to have a conversation with him. However, when questioned, Rice invoked his right to remain silent and requested legal representation.
Oh, yeah, he did it.
His refusal to cooperate only deepened the suspicion surrounding him.
And your human nature is what you got to hide.
But lacking concrete evidence, the detectives were unable to detain Rice any further. Furthermore, Jordan informed the police that Haley had visited her around 10 p.m. that night to retrieve her wallet. Jordan also provided an alibi for her boyfriend, stating that they had both spent the night at Rice's brother's house. Despite these developments,
they
the
both about to
investigators were
go?
no closer to making an arrest, leaving Haley's family to grapple with the painful task of preparing for her funeral. Heather couldn't shake her anxiety, fearing that Haley's killer might even show up at the candlelight vigil they were planning to hold in her honor.
I don't know how I can stand there and wonder who's hugging me and who's coming through this line. Did they hurt her?
However, it also provided investigators with an opportunity to monitor everyone attending the visit and observe whether anyone displayed any unusual behavior.
Sometimes we'll attend a funeral or a vigil to watch and see if anyone shows up, see how they're acting.
Yet, despite these efforts, the investigation seemed to head back to square one.
Don't worry.
You can't.
Around this time, the police received a call from one of Haley's closest friends and fellow roadie, Isaiah Hagen. He recounted his activities on the night of April 23rd, explaining that after work, he spent time with another coworker named Jake Allen. Then he got a text from Haley, prompting him to visit her apartment. After a brief visit, Haley asked Isaiah to drop her off at the Newborough Locks and Dam, a local landmark a few miles from the soccer field, where she was meeting someone. Concerned, but not wanting to pry, Isaiah complied and dropped her off without questioning her further. He then returned home. Still feeling uneasy around midnight, Isaiah attempted to contact Haley.
After he left from there, he sent her a text saying, "Hey, thanks for the talk."
However, he received no response. The following morning, he attempted to contact her again, but once more, there was no reply. This call provided the detectives with a clearer picture of Haley's movements on the night of her murder. In fact, one particular detail led them to focus on a fellow roadie, Jake Allen, who was with Isaiah before he went to Haley's house. Interestingly, Jake lived near the Newburgh Dam, where Isaiah mentioned dropping off Haley that night. Detectives then questioned Jake about his activities on that Sunday evening. Jake claimed he hadn't seen Haley after their shift ended. He confirmed Isaiah's account that they were hanging out together after work, and he spent the entire night at home after Isaiah left.
He told me he dropped her off and he went on a separate way because she wanted to go there to meet somebody.
Despite a search of his home, no evidence was found. Furthermore, surveillance footage from Walmart supported Jake and Isaiah's story of being together. This marked the second instance in their investigation where suspicion fell upon an individual without sufficient evidence to take action. But things are about to get more complicated with the addition of a third person in the mix. Police discovered that a worker from Texas Roadhouse had brought bloody clothing to a local dry cleaner.
We were very interested in who that person was then, and immediately began investigating.
Why would you take bloody clothes to a dry cleaner?
The garments belonged to James Whitson,
Get rid of the
cook at the
clothes.
restaurant. When questioned by detectives, James, who often kept a safe distance from most of his co-workers, offered a straightforward explanation for the blood.
His story was that he had actually been cut earlier in that week.
They proceeded to gather James's DNA swabs and sent them to the lab along with the clothes. Unfortunately for the detectives, the results didn't bring any breakthroughs. The clothes only had James's DNA, confirming his story and clearing him as a suspect. With the third suspect now out of the picture, detectives kept their focus on the two remaining ones. They even brought in the FBI for assistance. And then came an unexpected twist that changed everything about the case. It was something nobody saw coming. Almost a week after Haley's murder, on April 29, 2017, the FBI brought forth significant findings. Despite Haley's cell phone still missing, they managed to obtain her cell phone records.
Obviously, we want to know the last activity that was on her phone. I started digging into where the phone was, so I had established that rough timeline. The next thing I wanted to do was find out who was she talking to.
These records revealed something startling. Haley had been in communication with none other than Isaiah Hagen. Prompted by this revelation, they acquired Isaiah's cell phone records as well. What they uncovered was shocking. Isaiah's movements exactly mirrored that of Haley's. According to the phone activity, Isaiah met up with Haley at her apartment around 10:30 p.m. on April 23, 2017, and together they traveled to the east side of Evansville by around 11 p.m., where the soccer field was located. This directly contradicted Isaiah's previous statement to the police, where he claimed to have dropped Haley off at a different location. Haley's phone was shut off at the soccer complex at 11:25 p.m., around the time Isaiah's phone left the area. Haley's phone signal reappeared near the southwest side of Evansville at around 3 a.m., but then shut off again for good after 20 minutes. With conflicting stories emerging, the detectives turned to surveillance footage from Haley's apartment. The footage depicted Haley getting into a car with Isaiah. But when Isaiah returned in the early morning inspecting Haley's car, he was alone. However, the detectives possessed more than mere location records and surveillance footage to aid their investigation.
Typically, we don't get text messages as they were typed out. We just get a notation on the records that a text was sent. But in this case, we were able to get the actual content.
And Isaiah's texts were damning, to say the least. As it turned out, Isaiah had a history of writing bad. Isaiah's text.
Got the money yet? Waited for her to get off, but I'm getting it for sure.
Checks were damning, to say the least. As it turned out, Isaiah had a history of writing bad checks, for which his father had to bail him out. On the fateful night of Haley's murder, he was in communication with his father regarding the money he owed him.
While Isaiah was at the soccer field, that he received a text from his dad asking if he had gotten the money yet. He said that he was waiting on her to get off work.
Unfortunately, Isaiah's father was unaware of the full extent of his son's sinister plan to recover the payable money. Detectives discovered that Isaiah had been resorting to various means to make money. He'd been stealing items from his roommates and selling them at pawn shops in the area. Eventually, his roommates had enough and kicked him out. Additionally, Isaiah owed Haley $600 that she'd lent him to cover his rent shortly before her murder. Apart from that, He'd also managed to forge 2 checks from her
Psycho.
checkbook addressed to him, each for $300, one of which bounced due to insufficient funds. Haley had shared this information with her friends.
Me and Haley had been hanging out, and she goes, "It looks like someone had taken money out of my bank account." And she's like, "Hang on, I can pull up a picture." And she pulled up a picture of the check, and it said, "To Isaiah Hagen for groceries." And it was $300.
Despite being understandably upset by Isaiah's actions, Haley's compassionate nature
Why would you try to scam somebody that you know with a fake check and use your name? Yo, criminals are so dumb.
prompted her to forgive him, and their friendship endured. Was money the motive that transformed Isaiah from a
For
petty
$300.
thief into a cold-blooded murderer on the night of April 23, 2017? The truth remained uncertain. Ironically, the individual who initially surfaced as a concerned friend had now evolved as the prime
I need to
suspect.
see the interrogation.
To gain
I hope
further
they got
evidence,
one on him.
detectives obtained a search warrant for the residence where Isaiah was living with his parents. Isaiah's parents, Wandel and Donna Hagen, were speechless when the detectives informed them that their son was the suspect in Haley Rathgaber's murder. According to them, Isaiah had always been a well-behaved kid.
He was pretty shy as a kid, good-natured, happy, easy to get along with, eager to please. Everyone loved him.
They even insisted that Isaiah was heartbroken at Haley's death.
He was very, very distraught.
Yeah,
I mean,
I bet, 'cause
his
he was
elbows, his
scared.
hips, his knees, his ankles, everything gave. He was collapsing to the floor, and we caught him.
The parents also said that they had no knowledge of his financial desperation. However, they still refused to believe that Isaiah was capable of killing someone over money alone.
To even be considered to have committed such a heinous act to another person was just inconceivable.
But the evidence told a different story. During the investigation, it was discovered that Isaiah's father, Wandel, owned several firearms. Isaiah's parents also confirmed that they'd come to learn that a 9mm high-point handgun was missing from their home, but couldn't explain how it disappeared. Detectives suspected that this missing firearm could be the murder weapon.
We were not able to determine a specific caliber of bullet that killed Haley. One, because we didn't find a shell casing, and two, because we couldn't find the projectile. The 9mm was in the range of guns that would have caused a wound of that size.
As the search continued, more incriminating evidence surfaced. Detectives came across a towel that closely resembled the one found at the scene where Haley's body was discovered. Both towels were blue.
Yeah, but you could just tell, I mean, based on his parents saying whatever they're saying about their kid, first off, as a parent, you know if your kid's a dumbass or not. You know if your kid is doing stupid shit. You might not know the extent, but to sit here and be like, as a kid, he was eager to please. What is we talking about? He had issues with him trying to scam people. He tried to scam his own friend, and now the towel from his parents' house
matches the towel.
Like, bro,
at the scene.
you're mad dumb.
And you took their gun.
Yeah, you took the gun and you took the towel.
Blue in
And
color,
you left the
and
towel.
bore the Comfort Bay brand with matching RN number tags. At this stage, the evidence appeared compelling
Done.
enough, prompting authorities
Good
to
for
bring
the- good for
Isaiah
his
in for
ass.
formal questioning.
I'm gonna take
Here
a
we
seat
go.
over there.
Here we go, guys.
That's Brad Chandler mistake.
If y'all are still
I'm sure you
watching,
knew we
drop a
had to
comment.
talk
Let
at
us
some
know you're
point.
still here.
Line some things out. So.
Initially, Isaiah stuck to the same story he told police, that he picked up Haley from her apartment and dropped her off near
Drop
the
the
dam
evidence on
where
his
she was
bitch
supposed
ass.
to meet someone else.
I don't remember which one, Friday or Saturday. And then I met her at her apartment around.
He
10.
definitely
She
did
was
that
like,
shit. Look
"You
at
can
him.
go
He's
if you
mad
want to."
sketchy.
And I was like, "You sure? Like, is everything okay?" She said, "Yeah, everything's fine." She just told me like it was okay that, you know, I could go, and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because, you know, I didn't want to leave her by herself really.
So it was time for the detectives to confront him with the cell phone data evidence.
So we're going to show you a movie which shows your phone, which is, this is you, and this is Haley's phone, and this is a map of the Evansville area. If you look over here, this scale shows you the time of the day.
And with the introduction of this indisputable evidence, Isaiah's story started changing. He confessed about taking Haley to the soccer field, but insisted that he left her unharmed with her belongings intact. But even that story didn't align with the location data. Drawing his chair nearer, Detective Cruz pressed for a coherent
Damn.
explanation.
Yeah.
That's why I need an explanation.
However, Isaiah's explanation kept fluctuating.
Literally, the only thing I can think of is it somehow got left in my car.
It does not make a damn bit of sense.
I saw it. I saw it in the road. I saw her phone.
In the end, Isaiah claimed that he had Haley's phone with him all night. He admitted to throwing it out of his car window the following morning out of fear of getting into trouble if anyone saw him with it. The same reason why he claimed he kept quiet earlier.
I want to apologize and say that the reason I was leaving that out is because, I was scared.
When questioned about why he was in Haley's car in the early morning of April 24th, Isaiah explained that Haley had given him cash and asked him to sell some concert tickets she had. She also handed him her keys, which included ones to her car and apartment, so he could retrieve the tickets. Following her instructions, Isaiah went to Haley's apartment. He searched her car for the tickets and then went into her apartment where he found them.
He told them a specific area where he threw it out the window. We sent people to search that area and were never able to locate the phone.
Hey guys, did you know?
Bro, you're done. You piece of shit.
Yeah, he's cooked.
He's done.
I'm just trying to see how the other dude is locked into it. The other dude.
Isaiah
Right,
still
well, now
did
they're
not
about to rule him
confess
out,
that he
probably.
murdered Haley.
Nah,
Trying to find out
he had the little suit on, so he's locked up.
why
For the baby.
you did this.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Why?
I would never hurt Haley or do anything to her.
But the detectives weren't swayed by his denials, as they were confident they had the right man. With the evidence they had against Isaiah, they pursued the charges of murder, robbery, and obstruction of justice. Needless to say, with Isaiah's dramatic entry into the suspect pool, the other two suspects were cleared. And before long, Isaiah Hagen was behind bars pending trial. After the first trial was declared a mistrial, Isaiah's second trial commenced on May 30th, 2018. Prosecutor Michael Perry knew it wouldn't be a cakewalk, given that the case relied heavily on circumstantial evidence. Nonetheless, he highlighted Isaiah's lies evident in the interrogation tapes as damning proof of his guilt. While acknowledging Isaiah's lies about certain details, defense attorney Mark Phillips took a different stance. He emphasized that Isaiah never confessed to the murder. Moreover, there is no physical evidence linking him to the crime. Phillips even floated an alternative suspect, suggesting that the authorities had misplaced their focus on Isaiah when they should have been scrutinizing Thaddeus Rice, by then charged with the murder of baby Jackson Wheeler. According to the defense, additional evidence indicated Isaiah's absence from the scene of Haley's murder, as his phone data showed him miles away from the soccer field when Haley's phone was active at around 3 a.m.
At the time that her phone came back on and started traveling, it was nowhere near Isaiah Hagen. In fact, he was in a different county, so he could not have been pinging off the same tower that she was.
However, the prosecution had other theories.
It looks like it powers back up at the soccer field, but we've since come to the theory that when you power your phone up, it hits on the last tower that it was on when it powered down. And so that explains the reason why it looked like it was traveling.
Is that exact science or is that the theory?
That's a theory, but we have found absolutely zero evidence that there was anybody else involved other than Isaiah Hagen.
While the arguments from both sides seemed to be evenly matched, there was one remaining twist. As the prosecution called Isaiah's mother, Donna Hagen, to the stand, she dropped a bombshell. Donna revealed that while in custody, Isaiah had confessed to her that he had accidentally killed Haley, but he didn't intend to murder her.
I don't know that I've ever had more faith in the words coming out of somebody's mouth than a mother that would actually say that against her son.
It might have been an unexpected boost for the prosecution, but the defense felt defeated. Phillips even argued that Donna's testimony couldn't be trusted, as she had her reasons.
On cross-examination, she admitted that she believed that if the jury heard that Isaiah said it was an accident, then they couldn't convict him of murder.
However, the prosecution countered by questioning whether Donna, being a correctional officer, would resort to such tactics to protect her son. The jury had heard all they needed to hear. On June 25, 2018, after nearly a month-long trial, they delivered their verdict. Guilty. On August 2, 2018, 23-year-old Isaiah Hagen was sentenced to 60 years in prison.
Good for your
While
fucking
some
ass.
semblance of justice was served,
You're not getting out to your
void was left in
83.
the hearts of
and you're
those
not
who
making it
cherished
past
Haley.
30 in jail.
There isn't really a group anymore. A lot of people have left. We don't do Christmas dinners or Thanksgiving dinners. We don't do birthday parties out. We don't hang out at each other's houses anymore. Everybody just fell apart. When Haley passed away, we just stopped.
I don't think that any amount of time is gonna change what happened.
It's just like, for
not gonna
why,
bring her
bro?
Yeah, like.
What did you have to kill her for if she was already helping you?
She already gave you 600. You was the one that owed
You're
her.
the weirdo.
Yeah, you was the one that owed her bread.
Why are you killing somebody? Because you owe your dad
They will
bread.
probably never find closure to the question of why Isaiah chose to rob them of their loved one. As a tribute to Haley's memory, her family has established a scholarship program for nursing students at USI.
Wow.
As we
Listen,
conclude this
Chad.
tragic tale, opinions diverge on Isaiah's actions. Some see him as a ruthless murderer capable of taking a life without substantial motive,
Yeah, look
while
at
others find it hard to comprehend that someone...
Stop showing that old ass picture of this bitch. Like, what the
Listen,
fuck?
rest in peace, Haley.
Yeah, and rest in peace, Isaiah Hodgins, or whatever the fuck
Whatever
his
the
name
fuck
is.
his dumbass name is. Listen, chat. Listen, Compound Crew.
And rest in peace to that other stupid ass dude
That
who threw
killed
the
the
baby.
baby.
Like, bro, what is you on?
This shit went left and right, up and down, all for it to be him.
Yeah,
This loser.
fucking loser. All right, Chad. Well, we out of here on that note. Man, listen. If you got kids, keep them away from people. People are weird, yo. Don't
And
be
if-
trusting anybody with your kid.
At all. And don't trust your weird ass coworkers. I understand people be hanging out with their coworkers and they be considering them friends. You gotta watch who you be around. And on that note,
Just because you work with somebody don't mean you need to hang out with
and
somebody.
you can't trust them. I'm not trusting nobody.
Yeah, we up out of here. If you like
Appreciate
the
you,
video,
chat.
you still here, drop a 10 in the comments. A 10, a 1-0 in the comments, chat.
10.
We're going to get up out of here. God bless.